Good morning, beloved. Welcome back. Welcome to the deep end of the pool. We're no longer treading water. We're no longer playing with little blow up toys in the kiddie side of the pool. We are going for it, right? What is left other than that? What is left other than to say yes and to really mean it, not just halfway, but always in all, something like that. There's a lot rolling through me today, and I'm going to see if I can extend it in some way. But I want to begin with this idea of being crushed. How important it is to be crushed. Now, at first we hear that, and it's like, uh-oh. What does that mean? I don't want to be crushed. That feels like it's going to be uncomfortable. That feels like it's dangerous. Well, it is. It's not dangerous to who you really are, but it certainly is very, very dangerous to who you are not. And so I want to share a poem from Rumi that will illustrate what I mean. Here we go. The grapes of my body can only become wine after the wine maker tramples all over me. And though the grapes go on weeping and sobbing, I cannot bear any more anguish, any more of this cruelty. The trampler stuffs cotton in his ears and says, "You can deny me if you want. You have every excuse, but it is I who am the master of this work. And when through my trampling you reach perfection, you will never stop praising me." Isn't that beautiful? You will never stop praising the one who tramples that silly, insane idea of self. And yet it's painful because we have put so much value, so much importance, and so much belief into that lower self. We think it's something rather than nothing. And therefore, we have denied ourselves everything. Well, guess what? We're not going to do that anymore. So all this week, we've had this picture here of the master teacher. We've been referencing him. And so this morning, I decided to spend, I think, 15 minutes just listening to a recording of one of his teachings. And what happens when you fully give yourself to a whole mind, even if that whole mind is represented as someone like Rumi or Jesus or the master teacher, there is a resonant frequency that begins to set into vibration that whole mind within you, within me, within all of us. Much as the strings of a guitar. If I had Scott's guitar and I plucked one string and I deadened it, I would realize that other strings are vibrating, though I didn't touch them. Okay? Because the vibration of that one string set the others in motion. So when we are with and open to someone who has stepped beyond the limits of the perceptual world, we give ourselves to that. Something is awakened within us. Something begins to vibrate within us. So as I was listening to this recording this morning, I'm so grateful to have them. You can find them online, by the way. Just Google Master Teacher Radio. I began to feel like the strings of a harp, the strings of my own heart beginning to vibrate. So I just grabbed my phone, and just as I did when in writing the Master Teacher Within and the other recent books, it's just there. It's just where it's always been. right here. And every now and then the vibration becomes so strong that it extends. So this is, I believe, very important. So I'm going to ask you to give real attention to this, and to know that this is not the man that we call the master teacher speaking. This is not even this whole mind speaking. This is you. This is your whole mind speaking directly to you, or I should say through you, not to that self that seems to be listening, but through that self that never listens. Only pretends. Have you ever been around someone who just pretends to listen to you? Is that frustrating or what? Do you realize that that's what the lower self, the ego self, is meant to do? It listens. It gives a look like, oh, I'm listening. It's not listening to any of it. It's just pretending to listen. So step beyond that. And listening just means receiving. It means being willing to receive. So just be willing to receive this, not with that mind that tries to understand, not with that mind that tries to get the meaning. These are words like any other words. They really have no meaning except in that they enliven something within you. They begin to pluck the strings of your heart. Yes. So here we are. No one in this perceptual world practices love that transcends this perceptual world. No one in this perceptual world practices the love that transcends this perceptual world. Ooh. If they did, guess what? They'd no longer find themselves in this perceptual world. The world of bodies and form and competition and lack and sin and death. But they would instantly ascend to the real world where lack, sin, and death have no meaning. So let's just start there. No one in this perceptual world practices the love that takes you out of this perceptual world, because that's your greatest fear, to be taken out of this perceptual world, because you don't realize what is beyond it. But beyond this world is a world that you really want. Know that. So we're going to talk about fear here in the end. In fact, I'm looking, oh, this is good, because it's amazing how the lesson of A Course in Miracles always lines up with the inspiration of the moment. The lesson of the day is all fear is past and only love is here. Only love. So once again, we have to be willing to receive something that has no relationship to the world that you believe to be real. And that is like the hook that grabs you and pulls you out. Okay. Your definition of love is based on separation, and therefore is not true. You still believe that your love belongs to someone outside of the totality of you. It could be another person, it could be a pet, it could be anything. You believe that it's outside the totality of you. But the truth is that there's nothing and no one outside the totality of you. Because if there were, it wouldn't be the totality of you. That would be impossible. Therefore, anything that seems to be outside of you is not real. Is not real. And cannot be loved. Whoa. Anything that is truly outside of you cannot be loved because it's not real. It's not really there. And that's just the simple experience that which I thought was outside of me, that person I love, whatever it may be, is really where? Within me, where it has always been. Love, therefore, here it is. Love, therefore, remains where it has always been, within you. Get that. So when you feel love for another, you're really extending love to and from your whole self, not your limited egoic perceptual self. That's nothing. But when you truly feel that love, it's extending from the reality of you with a capital Y. You realize, not with your split mind, but with what you might call your enlightened mind, that the whole universe is within you. The whole thing is within you. And when this realization dawns in your newly opened mind, the world that you thought you saw an instant before, just like that, is replaced by the holy sight of heaven. Not as a place. No, heaven's not a place, but an undeniable reality. That's what heaven is, an undeniable reality of love. Not the love that we give to someone else, because that's not love. That's a chain. Because there is no one else. It's all within, not within here. I mean, I'm pointing here. That has nothing to do with it. But it's within the wholeness of the love that I am. We'll just say I am. That may be the simplest way. Love, therefore, is letting go of fear, which is another way of saying that love is letting go of self or your self-concept. Love is really letting go of you. Boy, there's nothing more confrontational than that. Love is letting go of you, or the you that you've claimed. We'll say it that way. The you that you believe in, the you that you have identified as something that is split off from the you or the other or whatever else is everywhere else. No reality whatsoever. We've given it such importance, such value, and consistent value. You see, it's the consistency of the decision to split off that maintains this illusion. The instant you become wholly consistent in seeing the truth, in loving the truth, that consistency brings you home. Okay. It's important for you to know that you can't do this on your own, because the you that's trying to let go is the only thing that blocks you from the awareness of love, which is what you are. You can't do this alone. It takes a miracle, but the miracle has been offered you. The miracle has never been denied you, but it's up to you to take it or to receive it or reject it, which is what we usually do. We reject the miracle. The truth is, you will continue to reject the miracle until you realize that you have no other effing choice. You have no other choice. Every other choice is dissolved. You've tried it all. You've done it all. And there you are, like, oh, that's when the grapes have been smashed completely. That's what Rumi was talking about. And you may go on sobbing, I can take no more. Oh, just you saying that means you can. Just you saying, I can take no more, is you're trying to hold on to something that's not really there. You can take more, because as soon as you stop saying that, the you that thought it was taking more ain't there no more. Now you're wine. Now you can get drunk for real. This is not an intoxication of the body. This is an intoxication of the whole self. The whole self that is loved by God, that is love. So when all other choices have disappeared and you stand with wholly empty hands, you will realize heaven. Heaven right here, right now. Let's just take a deep breath. That was a lot. That was a lot. But it's so simple. And there may be part of you that's spinning right now, like, what the heck was that all about? And that's okay. Spin away. But just realize that everything that you just heard is as simple as saying yes and really meaning it. That's how simple this is. It's as simple as opening your eyes and seeing what has always been right there in front of you. Letting go of the fear that you thought meant that you should close your eyes and hide. There is no hiding any longer. There's nothing to hide from. That's ultimately the lesson. You thought that there was a reason to hide. There was no reason. All fear is past and only love is here. Only love. One more deep breath. Only love is here. So, Vicky, I'm handing you the baton. Take us away. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, Vicky, you have to unmute. There you go, I think.
Okay, here I am. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, Brother James. Thank you, everyone, because you've been going deeper and deeper all this week and from every direction. So, what I feel from this is being brought into the place of where we get out of the way, where we stop interfering. And every effort is an interference. Our efforts to do, to be, even to be loving, they come from the ego belief in two. It's that simple. It comes from that. It's a setup for continuing to defend ourselves as just being, not even perceiving love, being love. And it's so the switch into this holy instant, any of the brief moments I've had, it's always a miracle and by accident. I never know, how did that happen? It's like, oh my gosh. But they are moments of no defense and no getting, no defense. And there's an art of realizing how we defend ourselves. And it becomes a discipline. That's why we do mantras, japa, or something, so that we stop defending ourselves and keep ourselves in one thought, in one undefended, open spot. When we make an effort to get there, we end up wrestling with it. That's why the directions are to rest and to relax. If I'm in pain, I can go around and find 10 things to cure my symptom. But the deep dive is about curing the cause, not just the symptom. So if I'm in pain, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I'm defending myself somewhere. I'm defending the idea of two, of something outside of me. I don't even have to understand that, but I can understand stop, drop, and pray. Stop, rest, open. Let the spirit that is what we are express, take over, what be welcomed. How do we welcome spirit? We can't welcome spirit by chasing it. We can set ourselves up to learn better understanding, right thinking, things that are helpful in terms of practices. But in the end, it is a total willingness to let all things be. There's no way to let things go without first letting them be exactly as they are. Whether it's a horror or a fairy tale, neither of them are so. Neither of them. And what is so is so much, so exquisite that there aren't words to describe the fullness or the spaciousness of what we are. The best word even Jesus uses is love. And it isn't a love of doing, it's a love of radiating what we already are. So in trauma is nothing but an opportunity to let go of another buried belief in separation. That's what all sickness is. pain is, trauma, war, all of it, is we take 100% responsibility as being the dreamer of the dream, not the victim in a dream, and not see our brothers as victims in a dream, but recognize I am taking sole responsibility for all of it. And I am content to be right where I am, wherever that might be, wherever we find ourselves this moment, not later, always just right now. And right now, welcome and defenselessness. In my defenselessness is my safety. When I'm defenseless and not making an effort from my thinking mind, but resting in the knowing. Now, the frequency of and resonance of Christ and of light is something we all recognize. We recognize it in one another. We recognize it in books that we read, in the Course or an Infinite Way or Unity or whatever, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever. We recognize the resonance of truth. That's enough to recognize, to know that we recognize it there, that we must also be it, because there is no out there to recognize. What we're attuning to is that vibration within ourselves. And when we attune to it, all we have to do is rest in it. Anything else is an interference. Now, when we rest in it and we relax in it, then if there's a prompt, we will know it because it will be unavoidable. When James has a prompt to write a book, he cannot not write that book. It has to come out of him, but not because there's an effort to be a writer or to teach anyone, but because there is a total expression of love that needs to give itself away. That's the difference. All prompts that are genuine, that come from spirit, are prompts of giving of what we are. It's not even like giving love as a thing. It's about being wholly what we are and giving of it in whatever way we breathe next. If it's put a pen in your hand and write, if it's sing a song like Scott does, if it's to knit a sweater, or like Artie, paint a picture, you cannot not do what love is compelling and offering and inviting us to do. That's why we have to be ourselves, but not ourselves in some outside goal, ourselves in the willingness to not get anything done, not go or do or be anything, simply to rest. And then when it's like a little explosion, it's the living fountain of waters that Jesus talked about. We all have it because we are it. We are the living waters. And when we're quiet and we let it in, that's why days of silence. And it's not about the outside silence. It's about the silence of not interfering. Then those expressions of love cannot help but come through us. And that's the resonance that starts extending here even in this dream state, that others also recognize and entrain to. So if James writes a book and someone opens that book takes them home, not to try to figure out or understand anything. In fact, probably not to understand any of it, but to recognize it. This is about recognition and giving of ourselves without any judgment. One of the Jet's here today, one of the best expressions of giving of himself without judgment might be Jet. If you're in Ahi and you see him standing on his head somewhere, you'll see this is light, just giving of itself.
There's the smile.
Right? So that's it, Brother James. Thank you. Thank you if I went too long. Sorry.
Unfettered joy. That's it. There's joy for no reason, and which is the same as joy for every reason. When everything you've heard today just kind of rolls together in a soup of light that you don't understand intellectually. That's done. That's over. Don't even try. Just receive everything you just heard Vicky say. Just receive, because it really is that simple. The light has come. That's all we need to realize. The light is everywhere at once. It always has been. The only difference is that you're ready to see that now. That's the reason we come together here every morning, so that we can see and know and feel and express the light that illumines the whole world. So let's be about it. All fear is past and only love is here. That's all we need. Only love, right here, right now. And so we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. Punto.
Punto. Remember,
As you can see, Scott is going to be here to hang out with those of you on Zoom. Don't touch anything yet. And so if you want to hang out and just experience the whole week again, hang out here with Scott on the Zoom room. But the rest of you, we're going to turn off the recording. Have a blessed day.